Hey everyone, and welcome at a new episode of Inside the Zano Verse. It's the 16th episode already, going very fast. Time flies, man. I'm here drinking my 10th coffee of the day because it's quite late already. And it's been a long day, and we have a lot to discuss actually today. We have a big agenda because May has been a very, very busy month for the Zano ecosystem, for the Zano developers, for the Zano marketing team, for the Zano community, for everyone actually, with a lot of updates. So yeah, let's get into it. We're here with Pavel. Hey Pavel.
Hey everyone.
And with Gonzalo. He's here as well.
Hey guys.
And I see some community members: Curb Shifter, Pinkman, G, Big Piggy. Hey guys, Sanolist. Hey. Welcome at today's spaces. Yeah, let's get into it. We're starting with a few facts and updates and milestones. First thing is Zano is now on Instagram and TikTok, expanding our presence across multiple channels to reach new audiences, and we also have some influential people on board, like Cell the Agorist, and Aaron, and some others who are also happen to be active there. So yeah, and those we haven't really tapped into the user bases there. So we started with posting on Instagram, and we'll soon start to post on TikTok as well with shorts and videos. So you can go ahead and follow us there. I think there's already a bunch of content on the Instagram page. It's at Zano_project, the same as almost everywhere, basically the same as on Twitter here as well as on X. So go ahead and please give us a follow there. And also, we reached a milestone this month: 16,379 transactions on June 2nd, which is yet another new all-time high for the amount of transactions that we reached on the Zano mainnet. So that's really cool to see. Adoption is growing. Really, really exciting stuff. And then I would like to give Monero the Truth a shout out because he became the community member of the month. He's always constantly engaging and helping others out in the Zano chat. He also happens to be a community moderator, and he just, he does all of that for free. He's just there to help. He's always excited about Zano, always commenting, always sharing, doing his part. And yeah, so in my opinion, well-deserved community member of the month. Zano ecosystem growth. Zano Cash has launched. So for the people that don't know what Zano Cash is, it's a point-of-sale system where you can start accepting Zano and also FUSD, Freedom Dollar payments via Zano.cash, making in-person transactions smoother than ever. And it's perfect for vendors ready to accept private digital payments in the real world. So if you happen to be a vendor or you happen to know a vendor, someone with a store, they can now accept Zano and Freedom Dollar very easily through Zano.cash. So go check it out. Tools like this are essential for the Zano ecosystem. I think it's probably Zanolist guys. Yeah, Zanolist guys that made this. They've been so contributive to the Zano ecosystem. So it's really great to see. We have many more point of sale systems and payment gateways and other integrations on the way to make Zano a solid payment option for everyone. And also the confidential assets on the Zano ecosystem, of course. So that's great development. Has anyone here tried Zano Cash yet? Pavel, Gonzalo, have you played with it a little bit?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I even tested it, and we had a conversation about converting it into a mobile application, so could people run it from the mobile devices, tablets. So this is something that we are most likely going to do. We just need to do a brief audit, and then we'll try to port it and release it along with the official Zano apps. So yeah, I'm quite familiar.
Yeah, that's amazing. They also told me that because now it's just dollars, US dollars only. And I actually was Mr. Pinkman. He also happens to be listening now. I see. Shout out to you, Mr. Pinkman. He's the French ambassador, and he was in Switzerland last month. And during his travel journey there, he onboarded or is planning to onboard some merchants that he got excited about Zano. But for now, it's quite hard to accept Zano as a payment if you are if you have like a store. So that's why I asked Zano Cash guys when can you guys integrate euro options and other currencies as well? Because of course in Europe we use the euro and in Swiss the Swiss franc, and so those options should also be added hopefully soon, so that the ambassadors like Pinkman can continue to onboard vendors and merchants onto the Zano ecosystem. What's next? Porkfest. Yes, Porkfest, baby. This weekend, me and Thies and Ronnie, part of the Zano marketing team, we're gonna travel to USA for the very first time to attend Porkfest. They say it's a pretty wild event. So let's see about that. But it seems to be a perfect audience for us. Lots of libertarians and agorists and freedom-minded people. So seems to be the right audience. We're going to be there with Aaron Day, and I also know that Paul Puey, which is going to join us in maybe 15 minutes to talk about Edge Wallet. He's also going to be there. So, and a bunch of other Zano supporters. So it's going to be an amazing event, and very excited about it. We're going to have a booth there and give away free Zano, and we have introduction guides, flyers, Zano accepted here stickers. We brought flags for merchants, Zano roll-up banners. We basically went all out. So going to bring all that good stuff to the event, and gonna onboard many new people, hopefully, to the Zano ecosystem. Also gonna do workshops where we just explain, where I do a short presentation, onboarding people. So just walking them through the Zano ecosystem step by step, how to install wallet, how Zano works, how to create an asset, what you can use it for, all the exciting dApps that are currently already developed or being developed on the Zano ecosystem. So all of that good stuff. We'll make content as well. We'll bring microphones and camera, and hopefully shoot some nice content to share on our socials as well. So that will be fun for everyone to see, and hopefully we'll see a nice influx of new people into the Zano community after the event and during the event as well. Next topic is the Zano meetup that happened in Lokoja in Nigeria on May 24th. That was amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen it, Pavel and Gonzalo. They shared a lot of content about it, but it was great. So
yeah, I saw some pictures.
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, they uploaded pictures and I believe like a recap video as well, and so they had about 150 attendees, I believe, or maybe even more, and they onboarded almost everyone to the Zano ecosystem, which was amazing to see. You can actually, if you pull up the Zano aliases chart, you can actually see like an uptick in registered aliases on that particular day, May 24th, and he registered like over 150 Zano aliases were newly registered that day. So that's really cool. And also a bunch of merchants were onboarded once again. So big shout out to Lil King. He did an amazing job right there. And we should copy that concept and do it all over the world. So if you're listening and you're excited about Zano, you know your stuff about Zano, you want to host an event about Zano in your local region or country, feel free to reach out to me on Telegram and we can discuss it, maybe even fund it. If you're up for it, to host such a thing in your local area. So yeah. Then new integrations. It's been a busy month, man. Hotcoin, BiFinance, Bit.com, Digifinex, XT.com, all new exchanges for Zano lately. So you can go there and register an account and trade Zano on all of those exchanges. It's just good to have all these exchanges available, right? Because some work better in other regions, and some have, every region has their own restrictions and stuff. So yeah, it's good to have Zano available on plenty of exchanges. And And most of these listings have been arranged by the Freedom Dollar team. It was not the Zano team that arranged this, so we didn't pay for these listings. They arranged them, so huge thank you and shout out to the Freedom Dollar team who arranged all of these new listings for us and contribute greatly to the growth of our ecosystem and currency. And then we move on to NovaCustoms, I believe. Is it NovaCustom or NovaCustoms? Let me check that real quick. NovaCustom.com, which is a Dutch company based here in the Netherlands, and there are actually connections of the Zano marketing team here in the Netherlands, and they sell privacy focused and customizable laptops, and they ship them all over the globe, I believe. But it's super cool. You should just go check it out. NovaCustom.com. You can actually pay with Zano there and order a privacy focused laptop. So super cool stuff that you can now actually buy a privacy focused laptop with Zano. And
Cool.
maybe also Freedom Dollar. I mean, not yet, but I think they would be very interested in that. So I will connect them now that we're talking about it. I believe Andre was actually even interested in ordering such a laptop, wasn't he?
He is, and I'm getting one for myself. I just need to work out the specs because whenever I try to build something big, it ramps up, but I don't really need it. It's like ordering food at the restaurant when you're hungry. I need to chill because it's fully customizable. I don't know if you mentioned that. You can collect any specs that you want them to put inside of your laptop.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Let me know how it turned out for you. I might actually order one myself as well if it's all good. Because they have, I don't know, like I'm not too familiar with what they do exactly with these laptops, but like you said, highly personalized, so you can actually have like the Zano logo like branded into the laptop cover and stuff, and they also adjust some stuff to the chip inside of it, the CPU chip, I believe, because there's like a way to can you maybe explain a little bit about this, Gonzalo, because I'm not too familiar with it.
From what I understand, they mitigate or like partially disable the Intel management engine, which can be used to track you. So it's cool to see that they take care of privacy even at the hardware level. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, okay, go check them out, guys. Next up is the quiz night. Tell us about the quiz night, Gonzalo. How did it go? Who won? How was the turn up?
Yeah, so on Saturday we host the first quiz night in ZanoMetrics. So it was cool. Around 20 people participated, which is considerable, considering that ZanoMetrics is fairly new, and until not too long ago it used to be hard to use, but nowadays you can join from the Zano wallet app. So a lot more people join, and it was fun. Right now there aren't any bots on Matrix or anything. I mean, there are a few, but they're pretty basic, so we had to do things more or less manually. So it was a small event, but it was nice to just get started and get some feedback. And next time we'll improve some stuff and we'll try to make it bigger. And we want to make more events on ZanoMetrics and try to have the community be there and have most of the activity happen there, because we're a privacy project, and it only makes sense that our main stage will be a privacy focused platform. It was fun. The number one place was taken by Godson Blitz. He answered 100% of the questions right, so good job.
Nice. That sounds like fun. Yeah, so we try to onboard more people to the Zano Matrix server, the Zano Messenger nowadays, because it's just the most safe place for our users, we believe, because you have to register there. Essentially, you authenticate yourself with your Zano alias, so you need to have a Zano alias registered before you can access the Zano Matrix server, which basically keeps you secure from all the scammers and spammers that are active on Telegram and Discord and will DM you and impersonate us, basically. So if you are a Zanon and you have a Zano alias, connect it and join the Zano Matrix server. We'll do more events there, more activities to give people there an advantage over the rest, or like, just some special perks so that it becomes attractive to become active there and hopefully make it our main community platform over time. So yeah, you can find that. I think it's a bit hidden on the website, actually. We should change that, Pavel. But you can go to messenger.zano.org and there you can go from there. But I believe on the main website, it's a bit hidden. It's under
we should
depth.
display it more prominently. I think it's on the main page, but maybe we could think of something to put it on a spotlight.
Right. Yeah, totally. Okay, well, those were all the facts and the updates and milestones. Now it's time for the development updates. So we had let's start with the upcoming desktop and mobile wallet updates, Pavel, because there's a lot of work behind the scenes at both the desktop wallet and the mobile wallet. Can you run us through what will change and any ETA on this and all of that good stuff?
Sure. Mobile wallet would be getting a complete refactoring and the facelift, and the improved version is already in the test flight. So this is something that you could immediately notice right away. It has support for the newer features, revamped interface, support new states. So it's going to be just much better looking wallet with the same capabilities. Desktop is not gonna change on the UI side. Majority of the issues we've been solving are internal issues. I could go through the details. I don't know if that's worth your time. You could just read up on the dev update, but we fixed a couple of race conditions, updated the database, fixed JSON issues, and most importantly, updated the pre-download files to the higher heights, so it's going to be syncing much faster. There was a rare bug we encountered. Maybe some of you noticed that our blockchain stopped for like 30 minutes maybe. That was a really rare condition we managed to catch and get it fixed. So those are mostly internal improvements. And the release candidate is already being tested, and we expect it to go live sometime this week, probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
Whoa, and that's desktop?
Yeah, that's desktop. Important note about the desktop, we ask all block producers to update to that release candidate because that will prevent them from getting themselves into the condition I just specified. For the rest of the users, it's not like super urgent, but also encouraged.
Right. Cool. And will this update also have the built-in remote node?
No, not this one. Remote node is going to be a separate release because like there are way too many things that have changed in the remote node to combine them in one release. So it's going to be a separate.
Right. Okay. And what about private view key? I know that this is necessary for like connecting your wallet with Zano Cash, for example. This was also being worked on, right?
Yeah, it's going to be released with the mobile wallet. I'm not entirely certain if it's available in the desktop UI, but it's available through command line interface. So if you're a mobile user, there will be a button that will show you the view key.
Right. And this mobile wallet, and also for the desktop wallet, by the way, I know that we've been discussing allowing people to have multiple Zano aliases in their wallets. Is this also something that is coming with these releases, or is that another release?
Partially. We will show them in the interface. There is an ongoing debate if we should allow people to register multiple aliases. And the main reason for that, we don't want people to put an offensive aliases on other people addresses. And if you allow to do that, that will obviously happen. And you can look up other people addresses in the Explorer by their aliases because that data is private, and put something really offensive on their alias. So we got to work out the proper way to do it. This is why we are not allowing registration of the multiple addresses just yet until we have a proper system in place.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Yeah, you don't want any of that to happen. Okay. Offline signing. This is a topic that I'm very unfamiliar with. So I wrote down here, what is it? How does it work? Why is it important? I know that Gonzalo knows a fair share about this, and Pavel, you probably know most about it. So please enlighten
I could
us.
explain, or if Gonzalo wants to take this one, I could leave it to him.
I mean, you can explain how it works, and I'll talk about my use case for it.
Well, okay. Well, I don't really know how it works because this is some sort of file magic. I could also explain like why is it used and why people suddenly are so excited about the cold signing and why is it needed, which is a little bit surprise to me because we've been listed on a lot of exchanges for over 5 years and no one ever requested us to show how to do the cold signing, even though we supported it, but we haven't updated the post-Arcanum version of Zano to cold signing. This is why we have to like re-implement it once more. It suddenly became more important. And the main reason for it, Gonzalo, you could probably explain.
Yeah, so what it allows you is to sign transactions in a device that's not connected to the internet. So you could have, for example, a laptop that's not connected to anything. There you can create your Zano wallet and your private keys, and then use that device to generate data that you can later use to sign transactions. But you can do it in a way that your private keys never touch the internet. So it's pretty cool, and it's very similar to how hardware wallets work, for example.
And it's only important for exchanges. I think we need to mention that for users. This is not a user feature unless you're some sort of like cypherpunk or a tech geek. Like normal users do not need that feature. It's been mainly requested by exchanges because they prefer to have like separate circuits within their system.
Yeah, it's mostly exchanges that use it, but it's also cool for power users. Like I know some people that have, for example, a secondary phone, which is never connected to the internet, and there they have their private keys, and from there they can sign transactions. So if you really wanted to up your security game, this is one option.
Yeah, you can get one of those laptops stripped of Wi-Fi module and without Bluetooth, and you could do the thing, and you could pass it along with a USB stick. That would be a true cypherpunk way to sign your transactions.
I mean, isn't that how everyone does it? I thought.
Well, not me. I'm like
Well, I did it a few times. I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, good luck turning that in a user-friendly feature.
No, there's actually people who run it. So, for example, Cake Wallet has their Cupcake app, which is exactly this, just on app format. So you can do this with an old phone or secondary phone. So there's apps for this. But for now on Zano, you can only do it on desktop. Um, but the concept itself is popular actually.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I see that Paul is here. I'm gonna invite him on the stage. We're just gonna finish the dev updates real quick, and then we move on to the most exciting thing that we discussed today, which is the Edge wallet integration. I think he's invited now. Hey, Paul, can you hear us?
Loud and clear. How am I coming in?
Hey, yes, loud and clear, man. How are you doing?
Doing great. Nice reconnecting with everybody.
Yes. Excited to have you on the Inside the Zano Verse this time, man.
Yeah, very cool.
Last week I was just listening to the space on with that Edge hosted, but it's good to have you here. So we were just discussing some stuff about the dev updates and all of that. So we'll finish that real quick, and then we'll get into the juicy Edge wallet stuff. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great.
All right. So next topic was the wrapped Zano bridge reimplementation. Front end and back end have been updated. I'm not sure if we should extensively discuss that. Honestly, it's not super exciting, but basically what it comes down to is that got a major upgrade both in the back end and the front end, so it looks much cleaner now on the website wrap.zano.org. With our current branding and stuff, it was still on the old branding. So that's cool, and it works with Zano Companion now, and so that makes it easier to connect. And basically, also on the back end, at first you needed 40 block confirmations, and now you only need 10. So your wrapping or unwrapping will arrive a lot faster this time. Any comments? I don't think so, right?
No,
Yeah,
that's
also-
pretty much on point.
Yeah, it's
all right.
faster, better. Cool.
Faster, better, cleaner. That sums it up.
Yeah.
ZanoTrade. That one is an exciting one. ZanoTrade has a upgrade coming up with a much smoother looking UI and UX, and also it has an ongoing code audit in anticipation of making it open source. Is that correct, Pavel?
Sort of, yes, but we have a feature freeze, so we are not allowed to change any of the code until audit is concluded. So it's not coming until audit is out. So that's like the only correction I got. But yes, all of those things are happening.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's being audited by who right now?
Iminify. We have a private audit with a few seniors, white hackers from Iminify. The same kind of job we had with them working on the main Zano code. Now we are doing for ZanoTrade.
I actually been waiting a while for this to be released in open source. I think it's going to be really cool because, if you want a system like this to be truly decentralized, then anyone should have the option to run their own front end.
It was never intended to be like a service that we ran. It was always intended to be open source. But right now, there are projects that are already launched and they are running serious money for it. So before we release it to public, we want to make sure that nothing is sketchy there, and we want to get everything fixed and updated on the live version before we open source the whole thing. But it should happen in the next couple of weeks. So it's almost over.
Awesome.
Is this also in anticipation of? You think it will be more widely used because of confidential layer and stuff?
It might be. I'm not in a position to judge. Yeah, but I would love to see other people running their own instances of the ZanoTrade.
Yeah. So first step will be finishing the code audit. Then it will be open sourced, and then it can be updated with the new UI, which looks really clean.
Yeah, totally. And then you can fork it and run your own version and have your own whitelist and maybe make it custom for your specific use case. I don't know if you want to do it as a confidential layer kind of thing. You can have a confidential layer DEX with Zana assets only. So whatever you want. It's an open source piece of code.
Could people also run it in a market making mode?
Yeah, totally. The bot that runs market making is already open sourced, so you could do it now connecting to the ZanoTrade API. But after the code audit, you can have both running on your own server.
Yeah, but I meant so technically, with Ion swaps, we could have a traditional order book or like a liquidity pool. So we are not doing it because of privacy issues, of course, but someone else with this code, could they do it?
Oh, they could, absolutely. I don't think that code will help them much because this is the matching engine for Ionic swaps. And if you want to do the traditional order book, you need to take those assets in custody. Otherwise, the matching engine won't work. So it's like different approach, and you can still do it. I mean, it's an open source system. If you want to build something like this, and people will allow you to have certain control of their coins, go for it. There's nothing I can do to like prevent them from doing it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, just having more options will be interesting.
Totally, yeah.
Cool. Last topic before we move on to Edge Wallet integration is the confidential layer TGE has concluded successfully a couple of weeks ago. And now we're all waiting for the launch of the much anticipated bridge. Pavel, you are the person that is in touch with them, so you are probably up to date about the latest things so that you can maybe share here on the spaces.
Well, I don't really have a hard date. I know that the main net for bridges is launched and the threshold signature service is being worked on and tested now on the mainnet. So we could expect the announcement in next few weeks, I think. And the confidential layer itself, it's the application that uses the API I just mentioned. So whenever this is done, they could launch the main application.
Super exciting. I'm really hyped for it. I can't wait to wrap my Bitcoin.
Yeah, that would
Ethereum,
be
and all of
interesting
that.
to see. This is like a unique thing that happened to Zano.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how it develops. Also, like in terms of total value locked. Like I believe that people will just bridge very small amounts at the start and see if it works and if everything is smooth
Yeah, there are
sailing.
definitely going to be some trust issues, but over time, I think they can prove themselves. I know that they
Yeah.
passed the audit with common prefix, so the math and science behind the process is legit, and the rest is up to market. I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible to predict what will happen, but we can make an educated guess. And I know for a fact that it will probably bring a lot more of on-chain transactions for Zano. So we'll see more and frequent new
Yeah, I
auction
for one
hops,
would
hopefully.
love to be able to use like my Zano as a collateral for a loan. That would be one of the possible applications. So I'll definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, stuff like that too. Yeah. More transactions, more Zano burns, more users, increased TVL. I really think people underestimate how big this will be for the Zano ecosystem. So yeah, but enough of that. Let's get into Edge Wallet. Paul, are you still here?
Yeah, for sure. Here, been listening in. So great updates on the Zano front. I am as well very excited about confidential layer, and it was one of the big motivations in getting Zano integrated, since there really isn't a good way to transact a lot of the most popular coins, tokens privately. So great job, at least getting that started and close to the finish line, and very excited for when that actually does hit the main net and grander audience.
Yeah, so this is also something that you are excited and plan to support in Edge Wallet, right? All the confidential assets, you can already hold them there, and also these assets, these wrapped assets then released by confidential layer, people will be able to hold in Edge Wallet as well.
Well, yeah, we'd love to go even beyond that. Obviously, the assets people can hold in Edge already. So anything bridged from confidential layer into Edge, Edge can automatically support. So people can add any token that's supported by any token that's already in Zano. People can add. You just need the asset ID. but we also can add tokens such that, and I think this is a unique feature you don't see in many apps. We can add a bunch of the tokens that the community has deemed are of value. We can add them server side, and as soon as you receive the token, it automatically gets enabled. So you don't even have to go and search for an asset ID and enter it, custom. We've already done that for actually just a fun token that Edge launched. We just launched a fun token for ourselves that has absolutely no value. Please don't buy it. Right? We just bounce it around within our team. It's called Get Edgy, but just as like a test token in a way. And so as soon as someone receives it, it automatically shows up inside of the wallet. And we did that for FUSD as well. And I'm sure any like bridged over Bitcoin, ETH, or popular assets like that, we'll add that to the list. And once again, will be the easiest, most seamless experience for Zano assets because you don't have to enable them. You just have someone send you the asset and boom, it just shows up automatically.
Right. So for people that don't understand what Paul's saying here, in Zano's wallets, we have this process where you have to manually whitelist the asset that you received. And Paul was saying that Edge wallet automatically detects that you have received a certain confidential asset, and then it basically automatically whitelists it. That's correct?
Absolutely, yes. It does require that we explicitly add the asset ourselves, but you don't have to go and add it. So you don't even have to know that you've received it. As soon as you receive it, boom, it just shows up in your wallet.
Right.
But we'll have a bunch of already whitelisted assets, and we can add more very easily. We can just add them, server side, and then they'll automatically show up in your wallet if someone sends you that token.
Right, that makes sense, right? So you whitelist them from Edge's side first, so that whenever people send you, I don't know, butt token, you won't receive it in your wallet.
Right. If we don't whitelist it, then you're not automatically going to receive it. You'd have to manually add it, and that prevents a bunch of, like you said, butt token or some random spam coins from just flooding your wallet. And even if we did enable some stuff that you don't care for and you just receive dust amounts, you can then as well disable them, and then they don't show up. So it's not like we're forcing you to see them. You have the option of manually adding a token, automatically seeing a token because you receive it and we've whitelisted it. And as well, you can manually disable a token if you just don't care about it, even if you have received some amount of that.
Right. And will Edge at some point also support creating confidential assets from within Edge Wallet? Or is that not something you plan to do?
We don't have that feature on any chain, like the idea of being able to create a token. I give credit to the actual, the base Zano mobile app. It was very easy to launch a token. What we're more actually interested in, I think this is going to be a key thing, is supporting the ability for people to bridge assets across using confidential layer. So if there's already an established bridge of, for example, Bitcoin into a tokenized version of Bitcoin on Zano, we want to make sure people can go back and forth across that bridge, all with an Edge, not having to exit the app and go into and connect to a bridge dApp on a web in order to do that. We want to make sure people can do that natively inside of Edge. So that we do plan to support. We haven't seen documentation yet on what confidential layer looks like, but as long as it's not extensively super difficult, our team has integrated multiple DEXes, including like XRP DEX, Thorchain, Maya Protocol, 3 different DEX aggregators across dozens of chains, Rango, LeFi, SwapKit. And so I'm going to hope and then expect that, the bridge of confidential layer would be in line with the experience we already have with doing DEXes and bridges, so that we can get that integrated natively and make sure people can, once again, go back and forth between Zano and other assets pretty easily.
You can actually already check the documentation for that on Bridgeless.
That's what I was going to say. I could share some documentation because it's already out there. It's not in the confidential layer documentation because they're using a bridgeless API, but there's already a way to create a transaction that will be processed by the bridge. So I'll share it after the call.
That would be great. Yeah, definitely share it. That way we can look at it, start to estimate the time required, and get that into a sprint. Obviously, we're still blocked on confidential layer actually launching with the integration. We like to work with mainnet as much as possible. So there might be a bit of a delay from when confidential layer launches and Edge has it integrated, but we definitely want to be one of the first, if not the first, to get that up and running.
Yeah, that's okay. You'll still have to learn a little bit how to run the node and everything, so that could take a couple of weeks.
Got it. Understood.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, I would love to hold my confidential layer wrap tokens in Edge Wallet. But we actually moved a little bit ahead of the schedule here, just naturally by letting the conversation flow, because I wanted to start with welcoming you and then letting you explain what Edge Wallet is for the people that haven't listened to the Edge Wallet X Zano spaces yet. So maybe you could explain us a little bit, like what is Edge Wallet and why you integrated Zano?
Yeah, so Edge is a self-custody, I like to call it almost like a self-custody trading wallet. Lets people buy, sell, and trade hundreds, if not thousands, of different assets across dozens of different blockchains, including Zano. We have a strong focus on privacy. We're open source to prove it as well. We don't track user transactions inside of the application. We've also implemented a good handful of privacy protocols, Zano, Monero, Zcash, Pirate Chain, with more coming down the pipe as well. And so those, I can attest, even though I'm barely a developer at this point, mostly running the company, I used to be a developer, and I can attest from conversations with our devs that the privacy coins are the hardest to implement by far. But we've gone through, even a small team that we've gone through the effort of doing so because we care enough about it. One thing that I think differentiates us from a lot of apps that tout privacy and self-sovereignty and whatnot is that we try to build a user experience that is adoptable by the masses, even the people that don't care so much. So we want to onboard everybody. First of all, we target the people that do care about privacy and self-sovereignty and financial freedom. But we're trying to build an app that you can recommend to friends and family that maybe don't care to jump through the hoops. And so some of the stuff that we've done might actually alienate people that have been in crypto for a while and do care about those same values because the UX is different. The part that makes the UX notably different in Edge is that Edge has a very unique and novel way of doing key management. The number one thing that we found in self-custody apps that is a challenge is the key management, right? People don't want to deal with a 24-word seed or a 20 to 24-word seed, and they definitely don't want to deal with multiple, which they typically do when dealing with multiple assets across multiple wallets. They're having a different seed. I know Zano even has its own unique seed format, which at first I'm like, gosh, why does Zano have its own? And then I learned from our devs that you integrated the birthday height into the seed. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct. So once I heard that, I'm like, that's genius. That's like awesome, because that is a huge pain point. It's like, shoot, when was this wallet created? And for those in the audience listening, it's very important to know what your birthday height is for privacy specific coins, because then you know when to start scanning the blockchain, right? You're not scanning further back in history than you really need to. That saves bandwidth, that saves CPU cycles. But most people have that as a piece of information separate from their mnemonic and seed. Zano integrates that. But the pain point of that is, yet another mnemonic, right? Another seed that someone has to save. Well, with Edge, that's a zero problem. I noticed with other wallets that support Zano, you end up having a separate backup. Like you've already got your Bitcoin, Ethereum, your Solana, whatnot, and maybe that's on one or two different seeds. You create your Zano wallet. Oop, here goes another backup. With Edge, you tap one button, and your Zano wallet is created, encrypted, automatically backed up, and there's no other work to do. And that's part of the infrastructure. People create what are like these encrypted private accounts. These accounts don't have any personal info. There's no phone number. There's no email. No other PII. But that encrypts all the keys and all the data in the account, like your settings. You can tag transactions with metadata. That's all encrypted. And then it's automatically backed up and then synchronized between your different devices that you might log into. That's at the heart of what makes Edge unique. But what makes it unique is that it's going to feel different. If you're used to a hardware wallet, you're used to another self-custody wallet, you'll probably wonder, hey, where is my seed? Well, they're all there. They're all there inside of Edge, but you don't have to see them. And we generally recommend that people don't, because once you see them, you're going to be tempted to write it down, which everyone tells you to do in the crypto world. And once you do that, you've exposed it. It now is under potential attack from what could have seen it, where you could have written it down and put it in an unsafe location. Even if just seeing it on screen, if you had a screen grabber, that malware that was on your phone or your computer, then that screen grabber could see that seed. And so we protect against that because the credentials that people create, the username, password, are automatically two-factored with a light form of two-factor, and then they can be fully two-factored as well. So even if you write down the seed and your login credentials, somebody sees them, you will still be protected and notified of that. So we're this kind of hybrid between, traditional client server infrastructure and security, but as well using true encryption to protect your seeds, your mnemonics, and your funds. At the end of the day, it's your funds and your data, such that it feels more familiar and is much more forgiving.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised when I wanted to create my wallet and it brought me to enter a username and a password. I was surprised, but I'm surprised because I'm used to, other crypto wallets, but from, someone new to crypto, this is totally normal. This is how it is. So I was very surprised that you achieved that experience while maintaining self-custody.
Yeah, and most people that have been in crypto for a while will definitely be surprised by it. Ironically, we onboard a bunch of people that are completely new to crypto, and obviously for them, nothing is surprising. They're like, "Oh, okay, that was straightforward, simple. Okay, great." And the beauty of that architecture too. One thing that many people don't know about Edge, because we encrypt the seeds with the user's login credentials, we can encrypt many seeds. And in Edge, every single chain wallet, we call it a wallet inside of your account. Every wallet you create is a completely separate master private key. We don't share master private keys between wallets unless you were to import a master private key, a mnemonic yourself. If you were to import one, you could import it multiple times as the same, as different assets. You can take the same mnemonic, import it as Bitcoin, import it as Ethereum, import it as, whatever else, your Solana. That's the only case where you would share a mnemonic. Otherwise, they're separate. And people are like, well, that's inconvenient. I've got to back up a bunch of mnemonics. Well, in Edge, they're automatically backed up. But there's an important security benefit to doing that. For those that might be new, you may have not recalled, there was an exploit in a Solana-specific wallet. I can't remember the name of the wallet, and plus I don't want to throw them under the bus, but there was an exploit that leaked all the seeds that were ever created out to their infrastructure, and a bunch of people had their seeds compromised and funds stolen. Several people noticed that they had, and this was a Solana only wallet that this occurred on, but they noticed that people were losing Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, everything else. So why that had happened is people were taking the seeds that were in a multi-asset app, think like Phantom or Exodus, and wanting to access Solana-specific functionality in this one Solana wallet. And they were exporting their seed and putting it in that one Solana-specific wallet, which had the compromise. But because that one seed shared all their funds, they compromised everything. And that, by and large, would not happen with Edge. So there was some random chain that we supported. Fartcoin had a chain, right? And you created a Fartcoin wallet, right? And it was a chain, not a token. And there was a specific Fartcoin wallet that came out that let you do some airdrop, this and that, right? Or voting. You export your Fartcoin wallet, put it into that other Fartcoin specific wallet. Nothing else in Edge would get compromised because that seed is specifically separate and only for that asset. So it's a little nudge to the benefits of this model outside from just the convenience of, create account and log in. There's also some nice security benefits as well.
Yeah, and this is going to be amazing. At I was thinking about Porkfest next week, where you guys will also be present, right?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys over there. Yes, we are going to be present over there. We're rolling with a few people in our team. Really excited about it. I had a great time at Porkfest last year, and it seems like, well, not seems, it absolutely is an event with a lot of people aligned with our core ideals of freedom and privacy. And so we want to make sure that those people are onboarded onto crypto and into private cryptocurrencies like Zano. And of course, we think we're one of the easiest ones for those, especially the noobs that, know the value of crypto, but maybe haven't gotten into it yet. And so I think it's gonna be a great event for both of us. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, if we're going to onboard a lot of people there, which will likely happen, and some of the people there might be a little bit less crypto native, and we're going to have them create a wallet at our booth, it's going to be hard for them to tell them, okay, now write down your 26-word seed phrase. So, going with Edge Wallet might be a way more, or it actually is a way more convenient option for the people there to use and to hold their Zanos in.
Yeah, for sure. Let's happy to make sure people get onboarded to Edge and maybe even give them a little bit of Zano. We'll have some Zano to be giving away to people over at our booth in our tent as well. So happy to maybe chat offline and figure out some good promotion to get people onboarded into both of our ecosystems.
Yeah, totally. Do you think it's gonna be my first time there, our first time. So I have no idea how the place looks like. I know it's big. Will our tent be close to yours? Is the booth near your booth?
So
or
what I've seen in the past, and I'm sure it's gonna be a similar layout this year, is there's a central large grassy area that get occupied by the large tents, such as the ones that we're going to be in. And those tents are pretty generally close to each other. We have to exit one tent and walk over into another one. And you're probably not walking any more than 10 to 50 yards between the larger tents. And then the larger tents will tend to have like a booth inside, a few booths inside of them. And I know that like you're partnering with Aaron Day and we're partnering with Anarchapulco to share that tent and share the cost of it. So it's pretty accessible, to go between the different tents. And then outside of the tents are the campground area where people actually have camping spots and small individual tents. Just think like going to a campground and having like a canopy. There'd be hundreds of those. And a lot of them are also their own little mini, almost like merchant or booth where people are selling goods. There's a bunch of agorists. They're all taking crypto. Almost all of them are taking crypto. Some people are selling food, services, jewelry, gold and silver, you name it. It's just a huge agorist community over there. And so I think it's almost like a combination of these larger tents that are in the grassy area and as well as the smaller individual campsite tents that sometimes they're even doing little talks, like tiny stages with like 2 people and a camera and a small speaker. And so it's a nice, very ad hoc, but very compelling community to connect with. So very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Actually, we went all out and we're bringing a lot of merchandise and goodies and stuff to the event. One of the things we did is we're bringing a lot of Zano accepted here stickers because I heard there's a lot of merchants. So hopefully we can onboard a lot of merchants. I also brought about 40 or 50, between 40 and 50 Zano flags. They're pretty big. They're giant, actually. And I'm hoping that I'm planning to give them away to every merchant there that wants to accept Zano. So I hope that we can onboard many people to Zano there, many merchants, and then they get a Zano accepted here sticker and a flag. And hopefully at the end of the week, we'll see 40 Zano flags waving across the campground.
That would be awesome. And when I went last year, I found like a decent handful of the merchants were already using Edge. So if you find one that is using Edge, you say, hey, you could at a tap of a button accept Zano. No additional account, no writing down an additional seed. Just go ahead and enable Zano. Boom, they've got a QR code and they can accept it. So I'd love to be able to get those merchants on board with Zano as well. And it should be pretty simple. And of course, get some new merchants, on Edge, and they can be taking Zano just as easily as all the other assets, Monero, Bitcoin, Litecoin, you name it.
That's great. Does Edge is it available to find your private view key for Zano in the Edge wallet?
That came up as a question, I think from Aaron recently. And so currently we don't export that, but with that request, I've put it onto our team to get that added into additional sprint. It won't make it into PorcFest because that's coming up so soon, but we'll have that available going forward. So right now you can see your actual master private key, which is your 20, 25 or 26 word mnemonic, but currently not yet your view key.
Yeah, it would be awesome if that can get added because there's this new point of sale system called Zano.cash, and it's a smooth, just an interface that allows you to easily accept Zano at your booth or whatever you're selling there. So you can just simply put in an amount in dollar value, for example, and then scan the QR code and then just transfer the Zano to that wallet, and then it will just give a green check mark whenever the Zano has been received, and that gets connected through the private view key. So it'd be amazing for merchants to have that option available in Edge Wallet as well.
Cool. Yeah, as soon as we get that private view key functionality added, then merchants will be able to export that key and put it into a merchant processing app. I think that is definitely an important piece, especially for what I call larger merchants that have to share access to be able to receive Zano across multiple people within the company. You obviously don't want to be giving access to the full ability to send and receive Zano to everybody in the company. I think at least in PorcFest, it seemed like the merchants there were pretty much the owners were there, right? And it might be like a small family, and they have less of that issue, so they can actually use a full featured wallet style app for accepting. And most of them did use a full feature style wallet app for accepting crypto, as opposed to merchant processing solutions. But I know that, like, obviously, if I go to a coffee shop here where I'm located, you're not going to want that kind of experience. You're going to want like an actual merchant solution that doesn't kind of give access to the entire wallet app. Like that app only has the equivalent of a view key or a public address. So definitely see the value there. But I think we might be okay in at least PorcFest.
Awesome. What would be so let's say we onboard people to Zano there through Edge Wallet. What would be the easiest, like the process for them to acquire Zano through Edge Wallet? Because you have like multi-asset support and swaps integrated into Edge Wallet, so there's no they can't swap fiat directly for Zano yet, right? But they could swap fiat for Bitcoin and then Bitcoin for Zano, or fiat for Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin and then for Zano. Is that correct? Can they do that through Edge Wallet?
Yes, absolutely. So they can onboard depending on where they're from. Obviously, if they are visiting the US and New Hampshire from a country that we don't have fiat support for, and that's very rare, then they wouldn't be able to get crypto. They'd have to actually, they could probably buy it from someone there at PorcFest, since people are trading, agorism between each other. So they could probably, swap some cash for some crypto. But for those that do have access, they can easily go either what's called like Visa, MasterCard into a cryptocurrency like, Bitcoin's pretty easy to get and probably has the most liquidity, and then swap Bitcoin into Zano. Or if you want a faster experience, Ethereum, which tends to have faster settlement times, they can go into Ethereum into Zano, Bitcoin Cash into Zano as well. And so, yes, there's no direct path yet, although we are looking at for some, let's say we're negotiating with some fiat partners. I know we hold some level of influence and leverage with on and off ramps, such that several on and off ramps want integration into Edge. And we leverage that to say, hey, maybe we'll add you if you add support for assets like Zano, right? Especially the privacy change, which we care a lot about. And so know that behind the scenes, we're working to get your back and get an actual fiat on ramp, but it's an ongoing process. But yes, people can buy Bitcoin, ETH, stable coins, and then swap that into Zano, all within Edge.
That's awesome. I love that. Zano is being integrated into Alchemy Pay right now. Are you familiar with Alchemy Pay? Does Edge Wallet work with Alchemy Pay?
We don't currently work with Alchemy Pay, but I am familiar with it. It's, to my understanding, one of the payment processors lets people on and off ramp. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I recall it being. And so that one we don't currently have integrated. We are talking to a few other ones that are similar. We do have a few requirements of some of our on and off ramp partners that make it a bit prohibitive for some to get integrated. But we'll take a close look at Alchemy Pay if Zano is getting integrated there and see whether or not it's a good fit. Otherwise, we're going to try to get it integrated in some of our existing partners that we already have. Since, like I said, we can throw that bone at them that, we'll both not onboard a new competitive partner, if they integrate Zano, or we actually do onboard a new competitive partner because they have Zano integration.
Great. Yeah, and also feel free to like involve us. Like we'd be happy to maybe even put some cash on the table for getting new fiat on-off ramp partners, because it's been quite hard for us to get fiat on-off ramps because of the privacy, of course. So we're like looking for them quite extensively and for a while already. And Alchemy Pay is only going to be an on-ramp for Zano, which is the most important sign anyway, because they say that with regulatory reasons, the off-ramping is not possible for them. So if you happen to find someone that can do both on and off-ramping, that would be totally awesome and very useful for Zano users and also for payment processors, of course.
No, it sounds good. We're definitely keeping our ears open and doing more than that, but actually pushing out to various on and off ramps to get them to support Zano and a few other assets that are on our list. So yeah, we'll keep pushing for it and let you know if we have one that expresses even a tiny bit of interest, then we can connect you guys and we'll see whether or not, a grant could move things forward a little bit quicker.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, before we move on to the community questions, just letting the community know already. If you have questions, feel free to post them here in as a comment under this spaces, or in the Zano Telegram community, or in the Matrix, or in the Discord general chat. Gonzalo, can you please keep an eye on those chats to see if any questions arise?
Sure.
And then in the meantime, Paul, is there any feature that you would like to discuss, or any topic that we haven't mentioned yet that you would like to discuss here?
Well, I can let people know about something new that just launched about a month ago, around the time I last saw you guys over at ETHDAM, which was our Duress mode. And this kind of shows our commitment to both privacy and security. And this protects a user's entire account in Edge. So Duress mode is a way for a user with Edge to set up a secondary login PIN. So in Edge, you can unlock your account with a full password, biometric, or a PIN. Here, PIN being a very common method that a lot of people use. You can set up a secondary PIN, secondary 4-digit PIN, that when you enter that PIN, Edge logs into what we call a sub account, or a Duress account. And that account can have a different set of wallets. Those wallets can be funded with a smaller amount of money and have actual real transactions, such that if you're forced to unlock your wallet, you can unlock with a Duress PIN, show that person who is forcing you to unlock the wallet for whatever reason they were doing that, show them the funds that are in the Duress account, while not exposing the larger amount of funds you may have in your main account. And the app should look and function, I call it 99.9% identical to the way it would function if you had logged in using your full account PIN. And then once you've logged in once with your Duress PIN, future logins with even biometric, would show your Duress account, right? And then you could re-enable your full account by logging in with your regular PIN. And so this has been a much requested feature for quite a few years, and it took us a little bit of time because of the engineering involved with our unique key management architecture to figure out how to do this elegantly, but more importantly, do it where it looks and feels a lot like a regular account, because we don't want it to be notably differentiated. So there are a few corner cases there, but I think we did a pretty good job, and it's been received incredibly well by the community once they've learned about it. And so we invite people to give it a try in Edge. If you're already an Edge user, enable it, give it a try, let us know what you think, give us any feedback. If you're new to Edge, consider using it, because you could transfer your funds over to Edge and actually protect them with a Duress mode, Duress PIN, in ways that you can't with a vast majority of other wallets out there. And this tries to address some of the concerns that people have with carrying crypto on their phone. Like, they think they can only carry it, in a hardware wallet they put in a vault inside their house, but then that makes crypto not usable, right? And I think everyone on this call, including the Zano community, wants to be able to use crypto. We need to actually spend it, earn it, use it on a day-to-day. But part of doing that is making sure that the tool we use to spend it is secure, and secure not just against like cyber attacks, but also secure against the good old-fashioned wrench attack. And this helps in that manner as well.
Yeah, that's a genius feature. I can imagine this is something that you guys have been working on for a while already, right? So lately, over the last month or 2 months or so, there's actually a lot of, you hear a lot about crypto kidnappings in the news, but this is probably something that you guys have already been developing, before the giant uptick in crypto kidnappings. So it actually means that you guys been moving ahead of the herd, so to say.
We'd like to say we were moving ahead of the herd. Unfortunately, we weren't able to deploy it before the kidnappings, and admittedly, if you go far back enough in times, the idea of people, getting approached on the street, or for some people actually having their computers and phones kind of unlocked forcefully at borders between countries has been brought up to us as one of the reasons. And so a few things came together for us to finally say, okay, we know we have the architecture to do this. It requires a good number of tweaks and a lot of work, but let's finally do it and get it done. And that, the development started a few months ago with a few early iterations in our hands, but finally got it shipped out about almost a little less than a month ago. I think it was actually a little bit more than a month ago. It was early May, I think, is when we were over at ETHDAM, and we had just shipped it out. So glad to see it out there. Yeah, it took quite a bit of time. I'd like to say we were ahead of the curve, but unfortunately, quite a few incidents have happened over the past even 10 years. So this is nothing new necessarily, and we couldn't get it out before the first one happened. But unfortunately, the kidnappings or just the forced unlocks on the street or across borders have definitely motivated us to get this work done sooner than later.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, man. Everyone should use this for sure. Gonzalo, have any questions appeared in the chats so far?
Yeah, we got a few. So one user wants to download Edge Wallet on Apple, on the App Store in UK, but says that it's not available. So is Edge Wallet available in UK?
So currently it is not. We are currently working with the FCA, the Financial Crimes Authority in the UK, to allow us to get put back onto the App Store. They had, in our legal opinions, unjustly considered us in violation because we offered buy and sell services inside of the app. And we weren't licensed with the FCA, but all of those services were done through third parties who were fully licensed with the FCA. And so we're making that argument today, and changing some of the wording and functionality of the app to get back into the App Store. So unfortunately, yes, users of the UK, unless you, I mean, I'm not going to recommend people bypassing and circumventing the law. Some people in the UK are actually also citizens of other countries. In such a case, you are allowed to change your actual App Store address to a different country, and then it would show up, right? Otherwise, if you're native UK, then it would be difficult, if not impossible, for you to get onto the into at least the iOS App Store. Although we have a direct download, which has circled around the internet for Android. Like Android, you can actually install an app without any app stores, and that people have gotten through our website at edge.app. And so for a subset of users, they could still use our app through a direct download. But that's not stopping us from making sure we can get back into the app stores in the UK.
Yeah, of course, it's open source, so anyone can compile.
Absolutely. So people can compile it themselves. The app does have quite a number of API keys in it. So you would, not have those API keys, which would allow you to access several different services, but you'd for sure guaranteed be able to at least access Zano, be able to send and receive. Same thing like Bitcoin, Ethereum, many different apps. Some of the swap functionality would be limited because it doesn't have some of the keys necessary to access those services.
Pretty cool.
Got it. I'm just checking out our chats right now.
Yeah, we got some questions for the Zano team, so we can go through that later. But regarding Edge, I got a question actually. So are you guys looking into implementing background sync, not just for Zano, but for all cryptos that need it?
Good question. We've considered doing that, and we don't have it on the roadmap currently. One of the things that concerns us is background apps. Like if you search the internet for "my phone dies quickly," what can I do? Blah blah blah. The number one thing you run into is disable background app refresh for iOS. It's the number one thing because so many apps ask for permission to do that, and people then get motivated to just disable it anyway. Obviously, the people that care about privacy coins and use them might think differently, but the impact on a user's actual usability of the phone, and like CPU usage, which impacts battery usage, which impacts the longevity of their phone during the normal workday, can be pretty significant with background app refresh and actually syncing a chain. So we're not currently looking at doing that. What we instead are pushing, and I know I've pushed this on the developers of Zano before. I've done it definitely with the Zcash team and the Monero team and every other privacy protocol team, is implementation to a protocol change which negates the need to do this. And the protocol change being implementation of what the Zcash community calls detection keys and what the Monero community calls view tags, such that a unique key can be provided to a node or a server that can then detect what transaction are yours, but not know anything else about the transaction, doesn't know the amounts or what other addresses were transacted with, other than the fact that, hey, this key has something to do with this transaction, a send or receive of that transaction. And so there are open proposals on how to do this, but of course, they require development work. And a lot of these teams don't know whether or not that's worth it. I would argue it's incredibly worth it. That fixes one of the longest standing issues with privacy coins. Now, I'll admit Zano, though, Zano does sync pretty quickly. I'm not sure what special magic you guys put in, or if it's just a small chain. It might be a combination of both. It doesn't take me that long to sync a Zano wallet when I've been offline for a day, whereas other chains could take a very long time and to the point where I'm just not caught up. So while I see the value of the background sync, I would sooner push for a better longer term and sustainable solution than implement the effort of background sync. It is a notable effort to implement, especially in a framework like we use, which is React Native. So it's a long-winded answer of saying not currently on our roadmap. We might change our mind in the future, but I really would put a lot of engineering effort in implementing something like a view tag view tag or detection key type of architecture, and I'd hope to see it in Zano in the future.
All right, thank you. We got some questions. So, for how long have you known Zano? So when did you find out about it?
Gosh, I think it was Monerotopia last year. So it was like November last year, so 6 months or so. If I'm not mistaken. Is that when you first met you guys? That's my recollection. I'd have to go dig through all the different communications that I've had with different people that I may have mentioned it before that. But I feel like that was the marked point where it's at least definitely left an impression on my mind, because I got to meet the team, talk about it in detail, understand it, see what it's capable of and what features it had. But yeah, that's the furthest back that I can recall.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember. But I thought you met Zano before, so it's cool that I can introduce Zano to you then.
Yeah, there might have been you might be right. There might have been a time prior to that, but that's the time when, when I get to meet the team face to face and actually talk to people, that leaves the biggest impression. And so that's at least the biggest early impression that I can recall.
Okay, so the fact that from November, so you met Zano in November and now it's integrated into Edge, I think that speaks a bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's half a year at this point, a little bit more over half a year, which can be fast to some and slow to others. It depends on how you look at it. But yeah, no, I think we were able to get it done, do it timely. You guys did build some of the code that we needed, right? And so there was some ready available code that at least had been tested in a mobile environment, and that speaks pretty well of the capabilities available. We still have to do quite a lot of work to get it to work within our infrastructure, but infrastructure meaning in our mobile app. But other chains, privacy chains that we've looked at, I think, love or hate, like Zcash. A lot of people do follow Zcash. It took us about 4 years, because there was nothing available at the time that they'd first said, hey, we'd like to get this inside of Edge. There was absolutely nothing available. And so we would have to write all of the zero knowledge proof creation transactions all ourselves. And so those years were spent just going back and forth with their team on like, okay, well, what kind of an SDK do we need? How does it have to compile, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Zano seemed to, at least from the point when I came in contact with you guys, right out the gate, already have some working code. And we just had to massage that, heavily massage it, deep tissue massage it, to work into our code base. But at least it was there and proven at that point.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was amazingly fast. So yeah, thumbs up for that.
Cool. Well, thanks.
So you talked that you would like to integrate, so bridging, possibly from confidential layer into Edge. Would you also consider integrating ZanoTrade or any exchange, decentralized exchange, where you can swap confidential assets?
Yeah, so we are looking very closely. Well, we say confidential assets, that's specific to Zano. From the viewpoint of privacy coins, we definitely want to get any form of decentralized exchange integrated. We are looking at, I think it's a basic swap DEX, which supports, I think, Pivx, Monero. I'd be excited to see Zano support in there. I'm not sure where that needs to start. Does the Zano team have to start? Does it need to start from the basic swap DEX team? But that's looking like it's becoming more feasible. Like they've built out an SDK, which they say is soon to launch, that would make swaps feel like atomic swaps, because they are an atomic swap style architecture similar to the ionic swaps in Zano, but make that feel much more like a standard AMM swap, right? Get a quote, send some funds, back some funds go. User doesn't need to be quote unquote online for an extended period of time, at least not as a market taker, which is how you normally would treat the people on like a consumer app trying to just do a swap. So that's something that they had built. Ionic swaps we haven't considered at this point yet, and maybe because we don't have that type of an interface available. Something that's less of the like create an order book, take a specific order, take that specific order, and instead of just being, hey, I want to buy this much of FUSD, right? Give me a quote. How much would that cost? Okay, execute that quote. That's kind of the user experience that we provide to our user base. And I'm happy to hear that Basic SwapDex is offering that, and they have a strong focus on the privacy community. So if that starts to become available for the Ionic swaps, then we'd definitely consider it. The current user experience, it doesn't fit too well with the UI and I think the user base of Edge. So not currently looking at it, but like I said, I'm excited to see change and improvement in UX does happen at the protocol layer. And once that happens, then it becomes much more feasible at the user interface layer.
Cool. Isn't Pavel, is an experience like that planned for ZanoTrade? Like a swapping?
I don't think it's possible with the current design, but yeah, we are always on the lookout for like ways to make that happen. I think we had this same conversation, and I agree this is kind of clunky and P2P focused. But yeah, as soon as we figure out how to do it properly, we'll definitely do it.
Cool. Once you guys even figure it out before you have docs, know that we are open ears to get into that conversation of what does that look like and feel like, and the corner case, what does the API feel like. I think there's no team that has dealt with as many different APIs from both swaps and fiat partners and DEXes and bridges than us. So we can provide tremendous amount of feedback on how to craft something that not just Edge can integrate more easily, but even our own competitors, right? So we're trying to leverage that knowledge to empower the protocols, even if it means that other of our competitors can get onboarded much more easily. So know that we're open ears when you're ready.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. And I think this is the final question from a community member. Does MICA regulations have an impact on Edge Wallet, specifically on France, but I guess any part of Europe too?
Yeah, primarily impacts all of Europe. France specifically has very, very specific, separate from MICA, very, very specific requirements on cryptography, not even cryptocurrency, just cryptography, where you have to submit some documentation on the kind of cryptography that you use inside the app. Is it open source? What do you use it for? And we've submitted that and gotten approval from France, which is why we're live in France today. But from the viewpoint of MICA, unless some other lawyer has a different interpretation than what we have seen, MICA primarily affects the centralized services and exchanges and their ability to withdraw funds to a user, and whether or not they have to KYC that user, which at the end of the day, MICA says that you do have to KYC the user if you're withdrawing funds. Now, peer-to-peer operations generally don't fall in anyone's interpretation that I have been in communication with. Peer-to-peer transactions don't fall under MICA. So if you're swapping on a DEX or just sending and receiving Zano or any other asset, that generally doesn't fall under MICA. Now, granted, laws are vague. They can be interpreted in different ways, but at least from who we've talked to, they've unanimously said that, yeah, this falls under more centralized services. Now, that could impact our ability to support fiat on and off ramps, but it would be a temporary impact in the sense that all those fiat on and off ramps they all already KYC anyway, and maybe they just need a slight change to the API to do like proof of address ownership, right? Just to know that they're sending the crypto that someone buys, to what is likely the actual user that has KYC'd. So that's like more of a small technical limitation or change in the technical implementation rather than a regulation that squashes the ability to do those services.
Awesome. Okay, I think those are all the questions for Edge.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of the spaces and look forward to seeing you guys over at Porkfest.
Yes, thank you, Paul. It's been a very informative spaces, and definitely look forward to catching up with you again at Porkfest next week.
Cool.
Let's make some nice content there as well.
Let's do it. Cheers. Take care, guys.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you, Paul. Bye-bye. Okay, well, I think that sums up today's spaces. We've been live for almost 1.5 hours. So, yeah, it's a lot to digest for people. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's spaces. It was a pleasure. If you have any additional questions, join our community. Go to links.zano.org. It's all there. And hope to see you on the next spaces. All right. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.